Zootopia 2 just got an amazing trailer that promises Nick and Judy's new adventure is going to be a major event. But did you know it also gives us a bunch of new info about the movie's plot, especially if you look closely at all the tiny details? In one chase scene, we see Nick wearing a shirt that says Papa Fox, which might be hinting at something huge. Nick's going to be a dad. But before you start wondering if Judy's the mom, take a deep breath. Not to crush your hopes, but Nick pretended to be the father of his buddy Finnick in the first movie, and in the teaser for Zootopia 2 that dropped before this trailer, we see Finnick dressed up as a baby bunny. So yes, Judy will be the mom of Nick's child, but it's all fake. They'll most likely go undercover as a couple and force Finnick to pretend to be their baby so they can infiltrate somewhere. One thing that's super clear in this trailer is that we're getting tons of new characters. They already popped up in the earlier teaser, but now we have a better idea of what roles they'll play. One of them is a warthog in a vest who's seen standing next to the police chief. He doesn't say anything and could easily be missed, but we have reasons to think he's going to be pretty important, especially since he was originally designed for the first movie, but ended up being cut and brought back for the sequel. In the original script for the first Zootopia, there was supposed to be an elite police force tasked with chasing down predators who lost control. Since the warthog is shown next to the chief in the new movie's trailer, he and his team are probably still elite officers. The only difference is that now they're likely going after different targets, probably snakes and other reptiles, since they seem to be the main threat this time around. That's already super exciting, but it's just the first of 23 hidden secrets you missed in the Zootopia 2 trailer. So grab your popcorn, Cinewave is kicking off. One of the biggest reveals in the sequel is a new character named Gary, a snake on the run from the cops who ends up becoming an informant for Nick and Judy. The trailer shows that their mission was simply to catch the snake and that they need to do this to keep working together. Gary shows up on a police file, and the reason they think he's a criminal, from what we can tell, is that they found one of his scales at the crime scene, since the plastic evidence bag clearly shows a blue scale inside. Nick and Judy don't seem to be doing so great. They're forced to go to therapy together and are one step away from being split up. We're not totally sure why, but we think the scene where a car crashes into a statue might be directly related to it. We believe this happens after a car chase goes wrong, probably because Nick and Judy get into an argument. That kind of explains a lot, doesn't it? And during that moment, you can hear one of the most famous movie Easter eggs of all time, the Wilhelm scream. It's been used in thousands of movies and is known as the most iconic scream in cinema. And since Zootopia is full of little references, of course they had to include this one too. Another new character that shows up here is a handsome horse, but not just any horse. From what we know, his name is Winddancer, and he's a former actor who became the new mayor after the previous one. Lionheart was arrested at the end of the first film. In one moment from the trailer, Winddancer looks absolutely terrified when he sees Gary the Snake, which tells us two things. One, this horse is a total scaredy cat, and two, reptiles are clearly feared by mammals in the world of Zootopia, especially since a bunch of other characters also freak out. At the end of the trailer, Nick and Judy are dressed up for some kind of party. What stands out is that it's snowing and the trees are covered in lights, hinting that this moment might take place during Christmas. Could it be the ending of the movie? Or maybe Christmas happens during the story? It would make sense, since the movie hits theaters on November 27th and most people will be watching it in December. Not to mention, all the snow fits perfectly with a part of the teaser where they're also in a snowy area. And it also lines up with the scene where everyone gets scared by Gary, which seems to happen at a holiday party. So it looks like Nick and Judy go to the party to find Gary. We're super excited to see Gary in the movie too. He seems hilarious. If you're hyped as well, drop a comment below with #Gary. But the snow might not just be because of Christmas. It's probably because the party takes place in Tundra Town, a district of Zootopia where it's always snowing. That becomes pretty obvious in another scene where Nick and Wild are also dressed up. This time they're inside a party and Frou Frou also shows up. She's the daughter of Mr. Big, a Godfather-style mob boss who lives in Tundra Town. She was getting married in the first movie, and now it looks like she has a daughter who's already a toddler, which probably means it's been about a year since the first film, right? The teaser that dropped before the trailer had already hinted that the duo's new mission would take them through several different biomes, and this trailer confirms that, like when Nick and Judy are seen in a part of Zootopia that's home to marine creatures. We already saw a glimpse of this place in the teaser. The difference now is that they're completely underwater. So, is there going to be a flood in that district? We can even spot a little bar in that same area with a sign that says Tusk. Since it's clearly a bar for sea animals, that probably means the owner is a walrus, a marine animal known for its giant tusks. And yes, a walrus shows up in the teaser, rocking that classic laid-back bar owner vibe. Coincidence? Then there's the scene where Nick is climbing a mountain. It's almost identical to a moment in the teaser where he and his partner are swinging around rocky cliffs in a very similar looking area. We're guessing those two scenes take place in the same region, which means we'll probably get to see the weird goats from the teaser as soon as Nick reaches the top. Even though Nick and Judy are going through a rough patch, it's clear they're still very close friends. In fact, there's a photo of the two of them together inside Judy's locker. It's hard to read what's written on it, but it looks like the word is losers. Do you think another officer wrote that to mock them? At that exact moment, Judy's grabbing a soda for herself, and we get a look at some of the soft drinks that exist in the Zootopia universe. One of them is called Koala Cola, and I mean, we all know what that's referencing, right? That's basically their version of Coca-Cola. It's so fun when this animal-filled world creates its own versions of the stuff we have in real life. Right next to Judy Hopps' locker, we can see the names Zabraxton and Zabrowski. And come on, there's no doubt the officers using those lockers are zebras, right? Those are clearly their last names, just like Hopps is written on Judy's locker, because yeah, that's her last name, in case you forgot. On top of that, another camera angle shows that Nick's locker, labeled Wild, is also right next to hers. W comes right before Z, which confirms the lockers are arranged alphabetically. If you're loving spotting all these amazing little details, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to keep getting more videos about your favorite animated movies. Remember Frou Frou, Mr. Big's daughter? It's worth pointing out that she's obsessed with pink. So, is it really just a coincidence that Judy is driving a pink car during that chase scene in the trailer? There's a good chance that the vehicle was a gift from the mob boss's daughter, especially since she's pretty fond of Judy. Ironic, right? Considering Judy's a bunny cop through and through. And right after that chase scene, the next shot in the trailer shows Gary running away. It kind of looks like the pink car is chasing the snake, but that's not the case. These scenes happen in totally different places, and Gary is clearly running through a crowd of aquatic animals. So this area is probably an entrance to the city's ocean district. And if you're still unsure, there's another scene in the trailer that takes place in the same spot, and it's actually a continuation of the previous one. In it, Gary jumps onto a giant slide that throws him into the sea, with Judy and Nick chasing right behind him. They're probably being taken straight into the ocean district. Can you imagine jumping on a slide that huge? Sounds awesome, or terrifying. Maybe both. One character who gets a lot of screen time in the trailer is Dr. Fuzzby, Nick and Judy's therapist. She's another brand new character in the movie, and she's able to figure out what each person is thinking just by watching how they behave. Some fans already think she might be the surprise villain, kind of like Bellwether was in the first film. That would be wild, right? Inside the therapy room, there's a motivational poster showing a giraffe with a mouse sitting on its head and the phrase "lift others up." Because, well, the giraffe has a long neck and it's lifting the mouse up. Okay, yeah, explaining the joke kinda killed it, but let's be real, those little visual gags are the best. There's another poster in the therapy room that says the safe word is Coco. A safe word can mean different things, but in therapy, it's a word a patient can say when the session is getting too uncomfortable, like when something traumatic is being brought up. So, anyone in the room can say Coco if things get too intense. Honestly, the way Judy and Nick were acting during that session, they probably should have used the safe word right away. And yeah, the session does go off the rails a bit when one of the patients attacks another and the therapist has to spray something on both of them. But don't worry, she didn't use anything harmful, just water. The bottle literally says water on the label. Want to know the secret to keeping the fun going with us? Just click on one of the 2 videos we left on your screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!